It is something we usually don't expect to see, but inevitably it happens. All you need to do is look at the news stories across the country. Floods, hurricanes, wildfires. Any of them can occur at a moment's notice. Mother Nature is unpredictable, but we can take steps to safeguard against sudden damage.
And it's all about being prepared. And we've heard about having disaster kits and extra supplies, but insurance could be the game changer in saving your home. And we'd like to welcome in Hunter Emory, the owner of the Emory Agency. Hunter, good to see you this afternoon.
Good to see you guys. Thank you for having me on.
You bet.
Yeah, wonderful. So let's just talk first about how you and your agency is involved in the community here.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we hire someone, one of the biggest things we're always looking for is what's their roots to this community? What are they doing outside the office to volunteer and work in our community? So we have folks from Dover all the way down to Salisbury that work for us, over 28 employees right now at the Emory Agency.
Wow.
And all of them volunteer at least 2 hours a month through our office. So we try to build those community involvement, those community foundations, because we know if our community does well, our office is going to do well as well.
There you go.
Makes sense.
What a great idea. Deferred management. What is that?
Deferred management. So that is going in and taking your property and making sure you're maintaining and keeping your property in place.
Okay.
Should the insurance company have to come forward and review your property to see if there's any problems or any issues with that property whatsoever. That could be rot. It could be a situation where you have not been taking care of your tree limbs over top of your house. That's deferred management, where you're not going in and taking care of that property.
Gotcha.
Very important. Yeah. Okay, so as far as personal items are concerned, where does insurance come into play?
Yeah, so when it comes to your personal items, a lot of times what we recommend is going through your house with a video camera, your cell phone, taking pictures of your belongings, seeing what you have inside your home to verify you have those items. God forbid we have a loss. It's a total loss. We lose your home completely. We're going to go back and we want to be able to line item all those items that you had. Having pictures of those items and that personal property that you have inside their home will really allow us to be properly able to make you whole again. Yeah, put you back in the same spot you were before that loss and go through that, because a lot of times you're not thinking about that stuff. That's not going through your mind. That's not something that's coming up for you. So if we can do that and collect that information ahead of time, save it on the cloud, we'll be a lot better off to be able to review that for you later on.
That makes a lot of sense. So have you personally witnessed the aftermath of any events?
Unfortunately, I have. So I like to say I don't deal with probabilities, I deal with consequences. And unfortunately, we have Greenwood is a prime example of what we went through 2 years ago with the tornado.
Yeah.
It was a horrible event. We had over 8 homes that were total loss. And we were right out there on the scene the same day, the very next morning. We were out there and reviewed it, and we worked with our policyholders for the last 2 years, making them whole. Getting them back to where they were before that loss. Wow. It's an experience to see that, to see Mother Nature and God's will at work and see what it can happen. And you don't think you'll experience something like a tornado like that here in Sussex County, but it's becoming the norm now with the way the weather is changing and the concern too we have for the future with regards to hurricanes. We just barely missed Sandy. We're due for something to come to this area. So it's so vital that you're looking at your insurance policies, reviewing your insurance to make sure you have the correct coverages in place and that you're not underinsured. Should, God forbid, something happen and we have a total loss.
So what kind of plans should people research to protect their homes, with that said?
So, of course, you have to have home insurance, or you recommend to have home insurance. If you have a mortgage, you have to have home insurance. It's really important to sit down with your insurance provider at least every 2 years to review your plan to make sure you've got the correct coverages in place. Coverage A is the number one piece you want to look at, your dwelling coverage. That's the coverage for your house itself. Let's say, for instance, you had a home insured at $300,000. Well, $300,000 might be enough 5 years ago. But if you're not reviewing your policy every couple of years with your advisor and making sure we have enough coverage in place, you're going to be left holding the bag on the difference. If it costs $500,000 to rebuild that home, that's $200,000 you're on the hook for, because it's a contractual agreement with the insurance company. An insurance policy is nothing more than a contract. So it's really important to sit down with the advisor, such as our State Farm local office, and go through your plans to make sure we have the correct coverage in place. We use a software tool called Estimate Replacement Costs. It allows us to get today's rates on what's going to cost to rebuild that home. And with inflation the way it is right now, that thing can go up and down all the time.
Wow.
So that's important.
Everything that you have just said makes perfect sense. It seems so obvious. Is there one thing in particular, though, that you see that we can avoid making a mistake with?
Yeah. I think I'm going to hit 2 real quick. One is understanding what your deductible is. There's a deductible for a hurricane deductible and a deductible for your house. And if you can review those to make sure you have enough money in your bank to set aside, should you have a loss, that you can meet the deductible need, then we'll be able to take care of you in regards to insurance. I think it's really important to understand what your deductible is. Number two is flood insurance. It's vital to consider getting some flood insurance, especially in this area. Even if you're in a zone that's a 100-year flood zone, like an X zone, you still need to consider having flood insurance because your home insurance will not cover for flood. A lot of people assume that flood insurance is covered under their home policy. That is not the case. You really need to go talk to someone, including our office, that can help you out and review that.
Now, you don't do flood insurance, right?
We do.
You do?
We do.
I thought that was just
Nope. We do it through the National Insurance Flood Program, and FIP, we are a broker for flood insurance.
Good to know.
Yep.
Hunter, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of things to consider. Hunter Emory, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.